do you function?
I'm tweaking 24s.
I think, to be honest, like 2 is probably my limit.
Yeah, I mean,
If I have more than like even that just one coffee on the walk we had, like I can feel like an anxious energy permeating through my body.
I think for me, I had to reset it a little while ago, and it's like
Because of all the
one
damn
coffee-
bugs.
Yeah, the bugsters. One coffee. Stop at like 2, basically.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference between me and you guys is that I'm up a lot earlier. So
Yeah.
like my window for like coffee consumption is a lot greater.
Yeah, that's true.
And like when I get to work, I'm like, okay, cool, let me like charge up and lock in. And also with the whole idea of cutting, it was like, let me drink more coffees rather than eat.
Yeah.
And that for me was quite a challenge because it's like, okay, I'm trying to reduce how much food I'm eating. So anything to help with my appetite suppression is going to be good. And you don't, like I think of the two, when we're looking at like caffeine and nicotine as the ones that are suppressant, I'd probably say I'm better off consuming caffeine just because my mode of nicotine consumption has always been like smoking, which is not good.
Yeah.
But maybe, do you think it'd be better if I just banged a Zin than having like 4 coffees?
Yeah, but then you're just gonna be one of those guys.
Just fucking Zins out the
Double
wazoo, bro.
parked or whatever.
Yeah.
What's it called? Double upper decker or something.
don't
Some
know.
nonsense.
I think upper decker is something else.
Oh yeah. But no, for me, if I have a coffee after 12, even if I'm going to bed at like midnight or 1, I just feel like I struggle to just fall asleep.
Yeah, there's a noticeable impact. And I know, Dom, you're always like, yeah, caffeine doesn't affect me like that, doesn't affect me like that. And I used to think the same. Like, I'd have a coffee like 2 hours before sleep, and I'd be like, look, I can still go to sleep.
No. It does when I'm like it would now.
Yeah.
But before it wouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair. I noticed the like clear impact on me going to sleep if I've had a coffee later than 10 hours before bed.
One thing I'm noticing now is that when I'm waking up, beforehand I used to wake up and be like, oh, and it would, even though I'd slept like 9 hours, it would just take a while for me to like muster up the energy to get out of bed or like keep my eyes open or stop myself from just like dropping back into sleep. But now, if I wake up, I can much more readily just pull myself out of bed
Sick.
and just like start my day, which is honestly a game. Obviously, it seems simple, but it's honestly a game changer.
Have you man tried waking up?
Yeah, have you
Fucking
tried like
sick.
waking up and just like carrying on?
When you wake up, don't just stay there.
Yeah.
You get up.
Well,
Yeah, but I used to wake up and then like first thing, reach over, grab my phone, and then
I
you
try
start your
and
day with,
avoid
like,
that as much as possible
Yeah,
now.
you start your day with like a cortisol spike of just like notifications and stress, and then you
Yeah, Epstein stuff.
yeah, and then you're just like
oh.
scrolling on Instagram Reels, and I'm like, oh, it's half an hour later
Yeah.
than I wanted to be awake, and I haven't done
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
and I just feel generally quite bad.
this is what we were talking about as well.
Generally quite bad.
Generally quite bad.
That's so jokes. This is what we were talking about when we were saying how if you want to optimize, you have your bed as like only for sleep. And I think that goes both ways. It's like, don't chill in your bed during the day. Don't get into bed and then just be like in your bed for an hour before bed. But
Absolutely.
also when you wake up, just get out of bed straight away.
COVID mashed bare people for that because, as you say, CBT will teach you that you shouldn't live, eat, sleep all in the same place. They should all be different places.
Yeah.
And COVID, lots of people just were like bound to this one room.
Yeah.
And I think that would have messed a lot of people
Especially
up.
people doing like flat shares or something. Where it's like you don't even feel comfortable like going and like chilling in your living room. Like that would be the state changes.
Exactly.
Bedroom to living room. But they're
Exactly.
just like, cool, I wake up, gonna chill in bed for like 2 hours, then go to the kitchen, get like a bowl of cereal, come back, eat it in bed, spend the whole day and just doing that for like basically the better part of a year.
Yeah.
That really probably mashed up a lot of people.
And it's probably happening more and more with like smaller and smaller rooms. I'm thinking specifically of like New York flats and studio apartments and things like that. Like some of the little box rooms, which
It's
is just
crazy.
like a bed, and it's like the shower is like next to the bed with just like a little curtain.
It's crazy. Well, I've seen one where it's the shower has the toilet in the shower, so you have to like sit on the toilet and then turn the shower on, and it's like directly above you, and it's literally like a cube. There's no sink, so if you want to like wash your hands, you just have to turn the like shower on.
That's insane.
It's unbelievable. I could never.
Bizarre.
I say I could never, but some people have no choice but to live in a place like that because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, we
surely the trade-off is just move elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like there are certain cities in the world where if you want to do a specific thing, you kind of have to be there. So for example, for us, like doing music, of course, now with the advent of the internet, like you can just do it from wherever. But conceptually, if you wanted to do the traditional route of, I want to become successful in this field, it's like there's basically only 3 cities in the world where you can do that. It's London, it's New York, and it's LA. Like those are the hubs where there's gonna be people go there specifically to quote unquote make it. So some people, like creatives, just go to these places and they're like, look, whatever it takes, I'm going to be there because I want to rub shoulders with the right people. I want to be in the, you know, if right now, short notice, somebody was like, oh, we want you guys to do a show here and we're over on the other side of the world, or where, you know, even just up north and having to come down, it doesn't make sense for you to be far away from that location. So I think for a lot of people, they're just like, look, I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to do my best to make it, and I'm going to slum it, and I'm going to do whatever just to eventually, you know, basically you make your own luck. It's like, I'm going to put myself in the best situation to profit when
You're
the time
exposing your
comes.
surface area for serendipity by being in these places where you're much more likely to have these opportunities present themselves to you. Like if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's very unlikely that you're going to bump into somebody on the street and strike up a conversation, and then they'll be like, oh, we're performing here, you make music, you should come along. If you're in literally like the countryside somewhere, those opportunities just won't be there.
Yeah.
But I guess, at least for me, one thing I've always put a lot of value in is like my space, like where I put my head. I always wanted that. Even when I was at uni and living in like halls, I always wanted my little room to feel nice to come back to. There's nothing
You're
worse.
not alone in that way of thinking.
But some people don't care. Some people are just
Really?
like, I don't care at all what my room is like. It could be an absolute state, just so long as there's a bed that I can come
I can
in,
fall asleep,
and then their thing is just like get up and leave the room straight away. Like they're literally just using it as a place to like fall asleep in. And I guess that's part of the, like, tying back to the first point where people will spend a lot of time in their room. I used to spend a lot of time in my room, so I wanted it to be like a really nice place to be. Otherwise you're just there like feeling just like anxious, like this is just a really shitty way of living.
Yeah.
I guess that's the...
And to your point on having to move to somewhere like New York, not even specific to music, but New York just offers an insane better like average salary than London does, for example. So if you're trying to break into an industry, you might want to go and just live in the cheapest thing possible, but it's like the ceiling is way higher then at that point. You start earning a crazy wage and you can get some mad apartment.
I guess the same thing is true in like the tech space, which is why a lot of people from the UK or like Europe will move out to San Francisco, and they will do this like flat share with like 8 other founders in a really small place where they're all literally sleeping on like air beds in the living room, just so that they can be in close proximity to these like tech giants and to the like SF atmosphere of
It's
the
like that
grind,
house
hustle
in the
culture.
social network.
Yeah, basically, but that's like a big thing. And like I've got a couple mates now who are over in SF and they're living in like not the nicest place, not the nicest area, but they're just
What are they doing in tech there? Like what specifically, do you know?
like it's AI startups. I don't know if I can really go into the details of some of them because they're like pre-seed and they're trying to do like fundraising rounds now. But yeah, they're just looking to start like AI companies as the buzzword of 2025, 2026.
Yeah, we're thinking of like a Labubu matcha, like Bitcoin kind of.
Like a crypto AI wallet that will,
yeah.
a financial advisor, like all of these things. But yeah, they're happy to trade off quality of life in terms of like where they're living and what that vibe is, just to be in the place where everybody around them is pulling in the same direction.
That kind of reflects what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Because we've got the Phantom House where it's like, okay, the 3 of us are all here living in the same location, and very much the house is like when I walk through the door after work and you guys have been mashing work all day, and we instantly start talking about, okay, what's the plan for ABP, or what's the next song, or I've been working on this. There is just that like creative energy, and I think it makes sense when you're like, okay, this is such a cliche trope where it's like you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
But it's true because we're locked in and we're focused and we're doing this. The productivity has gone through the roof, and you know it makes sense why these guys are like, okay, we're gonna all be in this small area together, but you'll kind of, what is it, like a rising tide leaves no ships behind, or whatever it is, where it's like
raises all.
because you're in that environment, you're never going to be unproductive. If you look around and the 7 other guys are all doing stuff and you've just been jerking all day, you're going to be like, no, I can't do that. I need to. These guys are setting the standard.
It's accountability.
100%. It's accountability, and it's also just energy, like a physical feeling of
pulling
things
someone
happening.
up when they're a bit like, it just helps you kind of regulate together.
100%. And I think I felt that really, really strongly, having spent the last like 10 days away. Like, obviously it was a nice trip and we
You
enjoyed
were just
it.
itching to get back
But
to
it was like something was off, and I think part of that was feeling really like unproductive. And that's okay. You can take a holiday and like have fun, but by the end of it, like the last few days, me and Zaid were both just like,
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go back. And then as soon as we stepped in the door, and then as soon as you came through as well, it was like, right, now we can like lock in again. And I just felt the energy returning of let's get back to work. Let's start being productive again and focusing on what we need to.
I wonder if that's like a universal feeling, or it's just like quote unquote these like Taipei characters where it's like you are.
I don't think it's a universal feeling. I think people would be much more happy to be. They'll be like, "Fuck, I'm going back to England. Look at the weather. Like it was banging weather over there. It speaks volumes about what we're doing."
Yeah, absolutely. We were energized to come back, but I also think even when I wasn't like phantom focused, after the 4th or the 5th day of a holiday, I'm a bit like, I kind of want to go back, almost because it feels like
Waste of time.
kind of. Look, it goes without saying that everybody needs to have time off every once in a while, and you can't be 100% laser focused on, productivity the whole time. But I don't think I need that many days off to feel like, okay, cool, I'm ready to come back. And I don't even actually think I need a proper holiday. Like I don't need time out of the country per se. I think it's just good to have maybe 2 or 3, 4 days where my mind is not focused on that specific task. You just have a bit of a mental reset and it's like, okay, cool, that's enough time away from this. Let's get back to work. Like you said, we were kind of itching to come back and get to it. But even, as I say, even before Phantom, I think that's just my personality type, which suited that more so. And like you say, I think probably a lot of people don't think like that. They don't feel like that. And that's cool too. If you like chilling, chill, bro. Like enjoy yourself.
Yeah. For real.
My thing is, the reason that I would feel the need for a holiday is for the state change. I would find it difficult to, like when I was working in like typical employment, you'd have, I don't know, I'd work for a couple of months and then I'd take 2 days off. Like, so I'd have a long weekend, but then it would be like, I need to get away because otherwise I'm just coming back to the flat and then my chilling is in the same space that I'm always in. So it doesn't really feel like I'm stepping away and taking a step back from the situation. I'm just kind of now in this liminal space where I don't really feel the relaxing element of having a holiday, and I don't feel the productive element of being at work. And then you come back to work having not had that rest and recovery, which is why I like to. I'm more of a traveler than you are, for example. Like, I would love to. I much more readily will go and do 2-3 days in another country, and then come back. And just the act of detaching myself from the space and then returning to it helps to reset my frame.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I said, you kind of just wait.
The same concept of like, if you've been in the flat all day, go for a long walk.
Yeah.
Same concept. It's just like a break in pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking specifically about, okay, physical location needs to change for you to feel like you're getting the benefit of the reset.
Is that about having like sun, like we spoke about earlier, or?
Yeah, I think so. Part of it is sun. Like when you've been in the UK for
as long as I
have. For as long as I have, and it's like if you're there for like 4 or 5 months and 90% of the time it's like grey and rainy and cold, that does do something to your mental. When you're just like, this is shit. I can't think of anything I'd like less than to step outside now and it's just raining. That's part of my mood is heavily dictated by the weather. Like if I wake up in the morning, I pull my blinds and it's like beautiful and sunny, I'm like, oh, okay. Like basically no matter what happens today, at least I can just go outside not have to wrap up really warm, not have to worry about the rain, and just enjoy the weather. And then I'll have like that little highlight of the day. But when it's grey and it's cold,
Yeah.
it makes you like turn inwards a bit more. And then you start like compounding that negative effect of like, oh, it's grey.
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to do anything. I'm just going to stay in bed. Like, oh, it's fine. Everybody else is probably staying inside because it's rainy. Like you start rationalizing like excuses for other people.
Yeah.
I think that was felt like really strongly during COVID, where it's like everybody else is doing nothing, so I can do nothing as well without that feeling of guilt.
Yeah.
I was not
absolutely.
having to be productive or do anything that's actually meaningful or will do something
Yeah.
positive for your life.
See, I don't mind the bad weather as much because I kind of look at it like, you know how people say, oh, you know, the best way to start your day is like an ice bath. It's about doing something difficult and getting that out the way, and then you're like, okay, cool, I've set the levels for the
Mind
day.
over matter.
So when the weather's bad and it's like early and it's dark and I'm going to the gym and I'm walking and it's pissing it down and no one else is around, I kind of feel like I'm actually overcoming something difficult,
Yeah.
and it's like a challenge for me to do something difficult. Versus if life is super easy and the weather is great all the time and the sun is shining, you're not necessarily having the, I don't know, there's no challenge, there's no pushback, there's no resistance that you have to overcome. Like, I know it's again another cliche, but it's like, who's going to carry the boats? There are no boats to carry when the sun is shining and, you know, life is great.
I disagree. Like, there's always going to be work that you need to do, but if you can set yourself up, like, why unnecessarily tie like one hand behind your back and don't use one of your legs and then go for a run? It's like you want, at least for me, I want to have the initial inertia, like the like was it the takeoff velocity, like that. There's an extra bit of fuel there when it's a nice day, when you've had a good sleep, when you've eaten well. All of these things help to just give you that initial push to get off the launch pad, and then you can use your own internal motivation.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say that though. It's like, why tie one hand behind your back or whatever? But we're about to do a month where you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're bound by specific timings, and we're actually super looking forward to that conceptually because of the pressure,
The positive benefits.
right? The discipline.
The
that
same
comes
way
with
that I
it.
do sauna and ice bath. You know, it doesn't feel amazing when I'm like at the end of the sauna or when I first get into the ice bath. There's a Nick Cave lyric which is "My mood controls the weather," which is sick, because it kind of goes to show that sometimes it's your state of mind which can kind of dictate how you're going to react to it. There's been times where it's really sunny and I'm the most depressed I've ever been, but there's times where it's raining so much and I'm there like walking around in the rain and loving it, you know.
So really, what it all is
Mindset.
it's perspective.
It's
isn't it?
mindset.
Yeah.
It's mindset, you know.
And we were talking about earlier how if, you know, it'd be amazing if the weather was great all the time. And I kind of pushed back on that and said, I think it's the comparison between the highs and lows. You know, 50 Cent said joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. Sun wouldn't be so special if it wasn't for rain. So it's like, I think that being able to have...
Pain like rain, but now the sun is out.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
I think to have the high points and the low points in life is what makes it like good almost, because you have to, like for like these trust fund babies who've never had to work a day, do a day's work in their life, and they've had it super easy. They're some of the most sad, depressed people in the world. Even though their life is great, they can travel all the time, they can see the sun, they can do whatever, they've never had to lift a finger. Why are they so upset? Versus people who maybe have to graft and go to work and quote unquote suffer a bit more, actually have higher levels of baseline happiness. So I do think that there is something to be said about suffering a little bit, going through hardship, getting over difficulty. There is a sense of accomplishment. And trust, when we get to the end of the month of fasting and it's Eid and everyone's gassed, you'll feel like, yeah, I've done something difficult, but I feel really rewarded from that quote unquote suffering.
For me, okay, so there's an Elon tweet which came out recently where he said it's true what they say, money can't buy happiness, with a sad face. He's on track to get $1 trillion this year. First person ever to do that. One person.
Yeah.
Rothschilds, Rockefellers, whatever.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, exactly. But I, for example, am nowhere close to his position. Yeah. I don't, sorry,
Shocking,
I
yeah.
should have waited till after the pod to tell you that.
Hey, Flair.
But I can guarantee you, I'm way happier than he is. I'm
Yeah.
happy on a day-to-day basis, and the way that I've got there is not through what other people would potentially see as the thing, like money buying happiness, or the fact that money can buy freedom. People always say that's the thing which it makes you then happy, which I get, but without self-work and without actually confronting your demons and your emotions, like we've been talking about, and not suppressing them and just confronting them and working on yourself, that's how you get there, you know? You can't paper over cracks with the money or with success, or people put this pressure on right now is the time where I'm unhappy and bored, and the future's where I'm happy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the future. That's when I can settle down, I've got my money, and then I can start my life and be happy. But they create this like mind prison where that day never comes because you have that thought process.
Yeah, you'll always have the thought process of, once I achieve this, or once this is
Exactly.
the case, then I'll be happy.
The goalpost will always be moving.
Yeah.
more
It's like
and more
chasing
and
the
more.
horizon. And
Yeah.
the horizon is happiness, and you're like, once I get to there,
Yeah.
then I can be like, okay, I'm happy.
And this is the loop which most of the world is stuck in.
Yeah. It's not taking the present moment and probably looking back and saying, I now have things that me of 5 years ago said would make me happy, and I'm here saying, in 5 years I'll be
Exactly.
happy. Like I've got
Exactly.
right now, like I remember 5 years ago thinking like, cool, when I'm my age, like 26, I'm gonna be in a flat, like living with you, probably focusing on more creative endeavors, doing these things. I'm gonna be healthier. I'm gonna be going to the gym, and those things, that freedom, will make me happy. And now I'm here, and it's like, ooh, well, I'm happy, but I still want this and this and this, and I want to achieve these things. And if I don't achieve them, I'll be like sad.
Yeah, interesting.
Two things that I want to say. Firstly, on money buying happiness, I think we can all agree that money doesn't equal happiness, but the absence of money kind of equals the opposite. So if you're like totally broke and you're suffering financially, and every day you're waking up stressed, that is obviously negative.
Of course.
So the flip side of it, you would think is positive, but I think it's just about a base level of, okay, this much money is enough. And now I don't have to worry as much. So that's the first thing. And then while we were away, I bought something which I've wanted to buy for a long time. And it felt like a moment for me. And I was looking at this like material object, like
This Labubu doll.
yeah, exactly. This special matcha. and I was looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, sick. Like I have acquired this thing that I want, but the actual thing didn't bring me any like joy. Like looking at it
I get you.
wasn't, it didn't fulfill me, but the process of getting it upon reflection was actually what made me happy. And you're talking about, Laith, you're talking about how right now you're in a time of your life where objectively you have got the things that you said you wanted 5 years ago, but you don't feel like necessarily you're done. And now you're looking forward onto, okay, what do I want in the future? And now I've added new kind of goalposts. But that's because it's not actually about achievement. It's about the process of achieving.
Yeah,
and again,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
another cliche thing where it's like, it's not about the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah. But it's also nice to have those little like you can treat yourself and have those reward moments and like those reminders that you're on the right track. You know, Clint 419 is a perfect example. He always like will reference back his old tweets and show like, and I think it doesn't show a longing for the material good that he's speaking about. It's like a marker of like, I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I said I would do.
Yeah.
I have so much trust in me being able to manifest further, essentially, you know? And it's an indicator that like you say, if I do get this Rolls Royce, which he just bought, if I do get this Rolls Royce, I'm obviously doing something amazing with Cortez, or for us, Phantom, you know, or your work or whatever. It's nice to have those little like rewards.
Yeah, and I think also with the idea of I'm going to buy X when I achieve Y,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a bookmark, you know? It's like, okay, this part of my story I'm gonna highlight with this particular moment, and then in 5, 10 years time, I can reflect and think, yeah, that time was special. I was this old, I had just been on this trip, we had just achieved X, Y, and Z, and this
Nice.
object represents that kind of moment.
Yeah,
And there's a
nice.
bit more kind of story to it. There's this like it's
There's a
almost like an
romance to
Easter
it,
egg
yeah.
in your own life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you were just willy-nilly just spending money and I'm like, yeah, cool, I got this, like what does it actually mean? And I kind of look at it, you know, I don't have any tattoos, but a lot of people do have tattoos. Some people just get whatever they want and, you know, fair enough if that's how you want to do things. But other people, each tattoo has like a meaning or a moment which it kind of represents. If I was to ever get a tattoo, I think it would be more on that side where it's like, okay,
Phantom logo or
yeah, like we've just released this song and I'm getting that one done. AVP exactly. And me buying that thing kind of felt like, okay, it was the right time for me to do this, and hopefully in 5 years time, 10 years time, 20 years time, I'm still gonna have this thing, or I would have passed it on, and there's that story.
yeah, absolutely.
Some people look at the material things and say like, I don't understand why you would ever buy this thing. Like even
Or
the-
even strive
yeah,
towards it.
exactly. Like, even the difference between me and you, like what you bought, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but that wouldn't give me the same joy or the same like pleasure in thinking like, oh, okay, this is like the bookmark, like you say. The way I like to bookmark things is through like experience. So it's like, this trip is the bookmark of this chapter, as opposed to this physical object. It's like the memories and the experiences that we had in this time that I would look back on more so than the physical. But I appreciate that the physical thing as well is like you have something tangible that you can look at and say, this is sick. Which is why people give you like awards. It's the whole thing about like
That's true.
you have released this song and it's amazing, and for recognition of that, here's this trophy that you can then put on your table and go, I did that. And some people would be like, oh, it's always been my dream to get like a Grammy or whatever.
Yeah.
But the act of doing the song or doing the thing and then reliving that experience and being in the space where you were recognized for it is probably more impactful than the object. The object just serves as a conduit to allow you to relive the experience and bring you back to the time when that was like what you're striving for. And I think to what you said, when will it ever be like enough? Will there ever be a time where you will genuinely feel like, cool, I'm done. Like I'm done now. I don't need to do anything more. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. I don't think anyone, no matter what level of success they have and however they quantify
There's
that,
always more work you can do, isn't there?
it's not even can do, it's like if you don't do, you will just feel like you're falling back. Like imagine we've released bare albums and we're hyper successful and we're at the top of the mountain, so to speak. If you stop, you will be like regressing. Like if you don't keep up that momentum, you will feel that like you're slipping behind and people are overtaking you, and you're constantly gonna have to strive until you're dead, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you guys look at it, but that's like something that kind of gives me like latent stress of, cool, we're now releasing music and we've released Go, and that's done like way better, to be honest, than I expected for the first song that we're going to release. But now there's this like pressure of like, cool, the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and eventually it's going to stop. Like there will be a day where we have released the last song that we're ever going to release. What then?
Yeah.
Like what fills that void then? Because right now we're at the beginning of the mountain,
Yeah,
looking up, saying this is going to be sick, and then somebody at the top of the mountain looking down, going, the fuel that's motivating you to get to here. Once you're here, you need to find something else that's going to drive you. You can't be driven by the chip on your shoulder. I'm going to prove to the world that we are who we say we are and we are sick. Because once you're at the top and that's achieved, you're now going to be looking at like, mate, don't even bother, because once you're here, you're going to have the same problems, if not bigger problems, because now you don't have this goal to strive for. Mm-hmm. You have to find something else, which I think is like where people have this existential crisis.
Well, I think that's the beauty of life, though, is that, you know, we were talking about last time about how like I admire Da Vinci because he was a polymath and he did so many different things. Like, yeah, cool, Phantom is like a huge part of our life, and you know, music is important and we all want success from it, but it's only a part of your life. And you know, eventually you might be in serious relationships, you may have family, you may have other philanthropic goals or other things that you're doing. So while you're at the top of one mountain, you might be at the bottom of another one. You know, you might have achieved what you want to achieve in this particular avenue, but you've just started fishing and you're terrible at it, or you've just started jiu-jitsu and you're a white belt and you want to get to black belt. I think there's always going to be opportunities for you to grow and to succeed. And I think it's reflective of your character as a person, where you feel like, okay, I never want to be stagnant. I never want to stop improving, because what else is there if you're not becoming better or more interesting or more knowledgeable?
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, what's the point?
I think for me, it's a little bit different, because for me, the priority in my life is the path to enlightenment. So like, I'm on this mad journey where I'm learning so much about like the true nature of humans basically, and what we can do and our powers, and what comes with that is all the other stuff, like for example the creativity and being able to express yourself and like living to your highest purpose essentially. So naturally those goals, if I am doing it correctly, those goals will follow suit. You know, it's like they are so connected. So it's not like, I'm sorry to say, it's not Phantom which comes first. Phantom is my favorite thing in this. Yeah, but it's like the best shot that Phantom will have is if I'm getting better and better on this path to enlightenment. Because the better and better, and the more I know, and the better I am at it, and learning about the way the universe works and cause and effect and magnetism and all this stuff, it just makes that goal that much easier. And that's why I feel like it's happening so naturally as well. It just feels very, it's just like they always say, do what spills out of you, you know, and that's what that is, I think.
Well, I think that makes total sense though, because you're saying like Phantom's not the number one priority, but if we all only put Phantom first, we'd all be like losing weight, we wouldn't be sleeping well, we wouldn't be doing this and this. So it's like actually being the best version of yourself from, you know, a spiritual perspective, a health perspective,
Exactly.
reading and knowledge actually helps us with the music. Like say for example, all we did was Phantom and we didn't read anything or we didn't learn more and develop. I actually think the quality of the product that we're putting out would just be that much worse.
Oh, definitely.
People are like multifaceted, and if you have more to you, there's more that you can give. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no point in being this like one-dimensional person and then expecting other people to be interested in your art when you yourself are lacking substance and lacking like understanding.
To that point though, I would argue that some people who have made, you're going to ask me potentially for some examples and I don't know if I can give you any, but some people who dedicate their whole lives to one medium, to one, like, I'm going to spend my whole life, every waking hour, everything, obsessing over X. That often, if they're successful, whatever they come out with, people are like, oh my God, how did they do that? How is that possible that they've managed to achieve this or create this thing that people are now consuming and interacting with? On the flip side, there are some people who are just like, okay, this is one aspect of many, and I'm a multifaceted person. So I don't think there's necessarily like a right or wrong way. Like somebody who's like an independent artist who's on the come up and then they make it and then you hear them in an interview and they're like, for example, Russ, I was listening to the the Modern Wisdom episode and
that's really good.
And he was talking about like, he released a song a week for like 4 years or something. And it's like, he just was obsessive over this one goal of, I'm just going to make music every week until I make it. And he had this, he already knew that in his mind, he was at the finish line and it was now just about fulfilling that. And it was like, almost like there was no like choice in the matter. Like he was going to do this and he knew that success was in his future. That kind of goes against what you're saying, where he's not necessarily a multifaceted person in that sense. For 4 years, all he did was make songs.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
re-
he got to that point of success, and then now he's there. I imagine that there's like a much more introspective, like,
Oh yeah, he
cool,
will
I need
have
to
changed.
I
the-
need to figure out what I'm doing with my life now, because all I've been doing is this one thing.
It's really interesting because that method goes against everything that we kind of do with like quality over quantity. And we have the time, and we have enough beats, we have enough like bars, we have enough to be able to do that exact thing. But the way that we do it is like, we've got like hundreds and hundreds of songs or ideas or whatever, and only like 10 of those are gonna like be the next releases or see the light of day. So it's interesting. I feel like the way that he set himself up there is almost you're giving yourself this, you're kind of spreading yourself too thin. You're like, there's this pressure to make a song a week, and it's like, oh, I've got to get the song done, and it might get to like Thursday. And I'm thinking about like me with clipping, for example.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm like, listen, I don't have much time. I just bang this out and give this to you now. That's what I feel like it would be if we had a release coming on Friday and it was like we hadn't written anything. It'd
Yeah,
be like shit.
But to counter, it worked what he did. Like, his approach worked.
Yeah,
Like,
eventually, but like, who
it-
knows if maybe with a different method he might not have banged off sooner. Who knows?
In that same interview, doesn't he say that when he started off, he was making like terrible music? So I think for him, the process of releasing a song a week was his way of actually
Honing the
getting
craft.
better
Getting
at
feedback.
at
We
doing
have a
it.
different way of doing that. We've got the lives.
Yeah.
And also, again, like putting myself in his shoes, thinking, okay, I'm releasing a song a week. There is no way that all he was thinking about was just music. Like, you wouldn't be able to, like, as a thought experiment, imagine all you did was just music. You didn't do anything else. You would probably feel fucked. Like, how, telling me, okay, this probably isn't what happened, but he didn't go outside. He didn't exercise. He didn't eat anything good. He literally just had the base level of survival where it's like, okay, I need
Nutrition.
this much water. I need 50 grams of this, and that was it. And I would just
50 grams of what?
yeah, exactly. I can't see that being true.
Yeah, obviously, when I say that's all he did, it's not like literally all he did, where for 4 years he just made music. But it was the driving force, and it was like, if I don't do this, there's nothing else for me. Like, I have to pour everything into this one goal, and if I fail, I'm fucked. And when your back's against the wall in that kind of mentality, I feel like, at least for me, whenever I've been put in like, you have no way out of this scenario, you just kind of like lock in and just go through it. That you can't, you can back up, then you hit the wall, and then you try to like slip either side, you're fucked. And then you're like, okay, brace and just go in and just like try to make it happen. And often that's where I found the most like individual growth, or like, oh, I feel like I've done something and now I can reflect on that and say, okay, what did this teach me about myself? Now I know if I'm in a scenario where XYZ happens, I have the tools in my belt. Oh, fuck. XYZ. Oh, my God.
You've become bastardized by Americans.
I can't believe it.
You
I swear I've never said XYZ.
rotten tomato.
You're rotten tomato, bro. Oh, my God. That's really bad. But when I'm in a scenario where XYZ happens, I know I have the tools in my like toolkit to be able to get out of the other side of it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we were talking about this in a kind of different scenario, but in life, there are only good outcomes. Like, it's only either you get what you want or you learn something.
Yeah.
You know, you achieve what you want to achieve,
100%.
or you grow, or it's a lesson. So
100%.
let's say, for example,
You use it as a tool. You use anything as a tool. That anxiety, whatever. It's like, what is this telling me about myself?
exactly. And if there was like a million musicians who were trying to make it like Russ, and they all released the song a week, and he's the only one who did it,
Yeah.
it's not like the other 999,000 or whatever gained nothing from that process. They would have gained significant, growth and development and understanding. So I always think, whatever path you're on, as long as you feel like you're doing it properly and you have that sense of, okay, this is this is right, then you're going to get something out of it.
Exactly.
It's the regret, it's the personal regret of I didn't approach that in the way that I know I should have, which I think is going to be more problematic. For us, his was, okay, one song a week, that's how I'm going to do it. And if I don't do that, I'm going to live a life of regret.
Yeah.
For us, it's, okay, let's roll the dice, take the plunge, quit jobs, whatever, because if we don't do that, we're going to live with regret. It's your personal relationship with your own life, I think. And everybody is different. And for a lot of people, it's nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to regret if I don't enjoy myself. I'm going to regret if I don't take that holiday and take that time off or spend more time with my family or my girlfriend or whatever. It's just on an individual basis.
I think what is super, super important to note is that you only hear his journey and his story because he made it. So it's very important that people don't have an artist, for example, who has no idea how to start or do it or whatever, doesn't just blindly follow someone else's journey because their journey was their journey. You know, it's very important that you look at how you operate, how you are as a person, what your strengths are, what will get you, what you think will get you to the point, essentially. That was his process. That's how he works. But they say this about manifestation as well. A lot of people say manifestation is bullshit because you only hear the stories of the people who've made it.
Yeah.
And they've manifested and it's happened. And there might be loads of people who've manifested and nothing ever happened. I mean, you will never hear them because they're not on the podcast. They're not on Modern Wisdom.
Yeah, they're not telling their stories because they're yet to
Yeah.
reap
You only hear the success stories.
reap what they've sown.
Yeah.
And that meme of like me sowing and it's like yes, and it's like me reaping. No.
That's brain rot, bro.
It's so good. There was a point. It's gone.
Okay.
It flew out of my head.
Flew out.
Honestly, when you like rattled me with the XYZ, I completely forgot what I was saying.
Were there any other Americanisms that you've like noticed that you started doing?
Where has that even come from?
You're like,
I don't know.
Come on, get out of the road. Let's walk on the sidewalk.
Yeah, the sidewalk is
I've
so
never
deep.
said sidewalk. I've never said trash.
Horseback riding,
I've never what?
seeing eyeglasses.
What's wrong with horseback riding?
It's horse riding.
Yeah, but I guess so. That's interesting.
Garbage can.
Yeah.
Trash can.
Yeah, garbage.
We just say bin.
Bin, yeah.
XYZ. I swear I've always said XYZ. I don't think I've ever said X. No, but I say Z. I don't know, man. I think I watched too many Americans talking.
Yeah, I know.
And then it subconsciously like spills into my brain. Oh, I don't know why you called me. I should just let me float.
We didn't say anything.
You both just
other
went, oh, he's done it again. He's using Americanism. You fucking idiots.
That is strange though, and I think because of the whole like globalization of everything and how like the internet is just permeated everybody's lives, eventually there is going to be this homogenization of culture.
Totally.
And probably in 5, 10, 20 years time, that'll just be normal. Like everybody will speak a certain way.
Oh, I don't.
Well,
think so.
no,
I don't think so.
I absolutely agree because the more think about, I mean, I've met so many people who are from like Nigeria or Holland or China, and they've grown up with English TV, and they all have American accents because that's how they've learnt to do it. Basically, that is only expanding more and more and more. The lower economic people who would never have had access to a TV or a phone to watch that kind of shit or shows, it's just more readily accessible.
Yeah.
And it's a way of learning English. So I agree that probably the world sort of, I mean, think about like other territories, like people do just speak English in an American accent. Like that is the most sort of common.
Yeah, I guess even like international schools and places.
Exactly.
They're all being taught like American English.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the term American English, it just is like, what do you mean?
Well, it's just let's get rid of some of the U's.
Yeah, it's just like, what do you mean
Because
American
let's get
English?
rid of the
Just
U.
it's just we just speak English.
But you know what that means.
Yeah.
It's English brackets US.
Yeah, exactly. English
Yeah,
brackets
yeah.
US.
Do you think that's why like UK music now is becoming more popular internationally versus like 10, 20 years ago? Because I guess we grew up listening to a specific UK sound, which was very much like, okay, it's really only accessible if you can understand the the accent and you can also understand the sonics of the area. But now you've got like these guys who their production style I think is not like UK anymore. It's just a sound.
Yeah. I think it's for a couple reasons. I think one, if specifically, let's talk about rap, because English bands, English artists like Adele, Sam Smith, the Beatles, whatever, that's always been a thing.
Yeah.
But rap has never historically been huge in the States until I think Tiny Temper was the first really to break America a little bit. He kind of laid the way, but then after that there wasn't really anyone until Skepta, and then Skepta and maybe gigs with Drake, but not really. That was
I think Dizzy had a bit of US
Dizzy,
success.
oh yeah.
Chip got signed to Ti for a bit.
Yeah, but not like the fact
weird.
the fact that we even have to rack our brains to think of those. Like
Yeah.
I think it's Tiny, then Skep, then Sench.
Yeah.
And I think that is so. That's down to Sench is the one who's broken America the most, definitely. And the ones before have been the guys who've knocked on the door and Sench has kicked the door down and walked through it, essentially.
Yeah. And I would say that the underground scene as well is now like really transcending that and like breaking into the US, like this underground UK sound. It's
Yeah.
like
SD Kid. Look
it's-
at SD Kid's now bigger than Sench.
yeah.
But I think
Which is
that's
mental.
that's
Yeah.
because of globalization and the internet more so than it's because the music is better or different. I just think now we're all drinking from the same cup. Like we're all being exposed to basically the same stuff online.
Yeah, it's like everything's global, like you said. It's like everyone just looks at. It's the same way that all kids look the same. They all wear the same thing.
Yeah.
They all say the same words. They all sound like Central C for some reason, even though you're from Surrey.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really fair point, that everything we're consuming now on social media, it feels like in the last like 5-10 years when you were on the internet, you would be in your own like real niche area of the internet consuming a very niche bit of content. But now everything is kind of just like blending. Like everybody knows about like Speed, for example, and like all of these streamers, those transcend the US, the UK, Europe, the whole world, and now every major bit of content is really being disseminated globally
Totally.
instead of into their niches. Like streaming 5-10 years ago was like a really small fraction of people knew what that was exposed to it and knew like the trending things that were going on in that space. But now everybody knows about all of these things that are happening in this world. It's I agree.
On Speed, like that is such. Oh yeah, on Speed. Talking of Speed, I had a mad weekend. On Speed, like what he did so cleverly, and I don't know if he did it on purpose or it just naturally happened, but his love for football was such a shout, and it has led to this. Honestly, I think he's, like you said, like one of the most important figures for bridging the gap between the States and the UK.
Yeah.
Like
It's global. Like he's doing these world tours where he's like traveling
Yeah.
across Africa, and like I think his next tour is gonna be like the Middle East and stuff. And he's literally like transcending what it means to be like a celebrity or somebody in that space. Like he visits like a tiny village somewhere.
He's
And
like Michael Jackson,
and he
bruv.
still pulls like crowds of like thousands from this tiny place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's
like,
insane.
Damn, that's crazy, and hopefully he uses it for good. And from what I've seen, he is typically on the right side of a lot of issues. And then you have people on the other side who like completely sell their soul away, and then you're like, that's a bit peak.
yeah, absolutely.
To say the least, that's a bit peak.
I rate Speed. I think that he plays this character very well, but that is not who he is.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
I think at the beginning it was like I didn't rate him because I was like, oh, this like yet another person just playing a caricature just for clout, not really being sincere, not really being like an honest person. But that obviously allowed him to get a foot in the door. And I remember years ago seeing the video where he like jumps and like drop kicks his computer, and I'm like, this guy is mental. And then seeing where he's gone from there to now of like traveling the world and like doing all of these positive things, I'm like, okay, I see why you did that. I personally wouldn't want to play like a character and be somebody I'm not just to get the clout to then allow me to do that.
But this is the thing. Do you guys? I haven't seen much of his content. Obviously, I know who he is and I see clips and this and that. But do you think that he's putting on a mask like fully, or do you think it's just he's exaggerating parts of his personality to make it more enjoyable for the viewer?
I think
I think it's impossible to kind of like know exactly, but I think it's the same difference almost.
I think-
know? Like you know there's a part of your character, like there'll be some bit that I do about like where I'm like being, I don't know, self-deprecating or something, and it's like if that got a good reaction, maybe then I'll be like, oh, that's
me
the
lean
part
into
which
that.
I should lean into. You know what I mean? It can be completely creative, but I think it has to. Think about it. I think it has to be semi-natural to him.
Well, of course, this is the thing. I mean, he's on camera so much. Like, surely the default setting is if I'm just myself and it bangs, then it bangs, and then I won't have to overthink it
have
so
to be
much.
so jarring all the time.
Yeah,
but
right.
for him-
Or like us right now. Cool, we're doing a pod, and we know that we kind of have to consider that this is going to be listened to. But I don't feel like I'm being somebody else or putting on a mask.
Yeah.
No,
he's
but-
probably. I would
but-
assume he's not either.
at the big, like now, I think he's probably more true to who he is as a person than when he was on the come up.
Definitely.
Because when you're known and when everybody already knows everything about you, you can afford to be a bit more yourself. You don't have to really lean into the character so much. But when you're on the come up, to get the attention, to get the eyes on you, if you're just a regular person, you're not really going to have much sway, because what differentiates you from literally anybody else? You have to lean hard into the things that are going to catch the eyeballs.
What differentiates you from literally everybody else is the fact that you are you. That's the point. You're the only version of yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody else can be better than you at being you. So I kind of disagree.
But nobody would have been watching Speed, and he wouldn't have had those viral moments had he not gone like, you know what, I'm going to backflip into my computer
but maybe
and
that's-
scream at the...
Maybe that's who he is, though.
Yeah,
maybe the reason why
and that's why
he's-
he banged is because that's who he is. I see it.
Exactly, and I think that's what we should be striving to do. Like, instead of, and you know, we talk about this all the time, but instead of thinking, how can we act to get more people excited about what we're doing, we should just be 100% authentically ourselves, and then the right people will connect with that.
Yeah, it's mad because it ties into the conversations that we've been
Don't
having.
try to be somebody.
Yeah. Just let it happen naturally, and then what will be, will be.